Can you list down, you said you made around 15 lakhs in hackathons. Can you list down which hackathon, what did you make, how much money did you make?
People my age, even 17, 18, 19 years olds in US, they're shipping SaaS. To me, it's like concerning because I was like, मैं तो JEE के लिए पढ़ रहा हूँ, right? So that's when I thought of taking decisions which compounded to give me a compounding effect. Started learning from JavaScript to async JS, promises and everything. That's the core thing, right? Proof of restaking based blockchain network. So you wouldn't find courses or anything on that, right? So this is how you go about it. You learn from documentation. I told you I'm a builder. I don't call myself even a developer. If somebody would ask me, I would say I build things to generate money.
Hi everyone and welcome to a new one. Today we have Ravish, who's a junior of mine from college. He's currently going to go in his third year, and his pitch is he recently won around 15 lakh rupees from Web3 hackathons. He'll take us through his journey. He was actually rejected in Blocksock, which is the blockchain society of IIT. And the revenge arc started then. So he started to learn about blockchains, Web3, won a bunch of hackathons. Right now he told me he's not really looking out for internships or placements. He's thinking of doing his own thing and launching a Web3 SaaS, which almost everyone wants to do today. It's the fancy thing to do. So we'll see how that goes. He'll talk through his product, his thinking, his learning, specifically around an AI product that he's trying to build and the Web3 hackathons that he has won. So with that, Ravish, welcome.
Hi, Harkirat Bhaiya. It's nice to meet you again. For those who don't know, we met in college when I met him outside Mac Auditorium, and that's where we're meeting now again. And then I sent him my same video, and he was like, "Oh, tu ye banda hai." So that was like crazy, right? And then, okay, so my story is like this, that last year at the same time, I was a guy who didn't even know JavaScript, okay? So at that time, we have this college club specializing in blockchain. It's called Blockchain Society. So I was rejected because us time pe, frankly, I didn't even know JavaScript, okay? So that's when I thought of taking decisions which compounded to give me a compounding effect. Started learning from JavaScript to async JS, promises and everything. That's the core thing, right? So I went from there, and then I started learning about all of these. How do you write Rust contracts? How do you ship things in software? How you write code in production? A little bit of open source, and then mostly hackathons. That's pretty much it.
Like it's easy to do web dev, promises, async. The second part that you mentioned, which is a lot of Rust that you did in production code basis. Can you talk through that? How did you learn Rust? What kind of projects did you build? Are any of these open source?
I'm not proficient at Rust. I see the same thing again and again. I'm not a 10x dev. I'm not somebody who is like a pro at doing everything. Like everybody knows that Rust is fairly hard to grasp. I went through the Rust documentation. Most of what I do comes out of documentation. I do not follow any one particular, say, roadmap or path. I mean, I believe I'm not meant to follow a roadmap. So I try to figure out whatever ways I can to learn, and then I learn on the fly. So it could be something like, for example, I was shipping for this proof of restaking based blockchain network. It's called Swell blockchain. So that works on POR, that's restaking. So you won't find courses or anything on that, right? So this is how you go about it. You learn from documentation, and that's exactly what I did. I understood how the architecture works high level at first, and then then you realize when you start reading documentation, you read about what eigenlayer is. It's basically the third, you call it the third paradigm of crypto economic security. So when you read certain things which are not generally covered by people on YouTube, you realize how important docs become. And that's where your power in learning from docs comes into play. So most of what I've learned has been, I would call it in a very wavy way. It's not very disciplined or in a streamlined fashion. I've read through a lot of docs. I've built projects. I've learned through them. And then I usually keep track of projects that come into bigger hackathons like ETH Global events. They're big hackathons, they're all over the world, okay? And then I try to find hackathons which are specific to certain niches. So I'm talking about new blockchains, new L2 solutions, new layer 3s. They're also layer 3s. When I came to know about that, I was shocked कि भाई layer 3 भी आ गया. So I built on top of that. It's not much difficult, right? It's not very new as well. If you know concepts of how blockchains work or how you write simple code, Rust code, Solidity code, you can actually build on top of them. Then uske baad to it's only Next.js or React ka code, which I would call a wrapper. Even Cursor can do that for you. So that's what I do. I read through docs. I first of all, what I do is if I target a big hackathon, so I'm like, कि इसमें इतना bounty money है, right? And then I make sure कि what is something that I have built previously, which is something that I can either use existing code base from and iterate on that, or I can build something completely new, which is something good for me because I get to learn each time I build something new. So I'll talk about something that I shipped recently. It was a financial advisory platform, a Web3 platform built on top of Swellchain. So I told you what Swellchain is. So if you look at my project, which is not open source, I keep it private because I'm building and I keep continuing to iterate that product. So if I talk about that project, you'll understand that when I made it, it's very easy to understand. It's like a financial advisory platform. It's only built on top of a blockchain. But then next time I build it, I'll probably integrate lending, borrowing protocols, something like Compound V2K docs, right? So I'll go through them. I'll read how Moonwell or things like Gauntlet, they're like very crazy quants in crypto, okay? So how they work, how they build things around lending or borrowing protocols. And that's where I would learn for 1.5 month. I would go on a full speed, I would run through docs. I would try to code a little bit, okay? So because it's not what coding is, it's actually what you grasp from those concepts. मतलब code तो at the end कोई भी लिख सकता है, right? So I told you I'm a builder. I don't call myself even a developer. If somebody would ask me, I would say I build things to generate money. So that is something that I could do in short term, but then you have to learn the concepts if you want to do something throughout your career.
Can you list down, you said you made around 15 lakhs in hackathons. Can you list down which hackathon, what did you make, how much money did you make?
Okay, so a bunch of money that came was from a single product. It was this financial advisory platform, which generated me around 8K in a hackathon, which was by the Stellar blockchain. So Stellar is वही जिसका XLM token आता है. So it's a layer one. It's maybe there was this Sorbonne Rust SDK. I studied that for around a day, and then उसमें Rust contract था, and then I made it, and that was my first version. So my first version, if you would go and look at my code, it's very scrappy. The UI is like fairly minimal, and then that was the time when that project gave me a confidence कि भाई इसके अंदर doing and proving such concepts कि भाई this can be done. This is a two-way chat app, and you can get financial advice from anywhere in the world, and that's built on top of a blockchain, right? That gave me certain validation. That made me around $8,000 alone. I took the same project, I integrated more things on top of that, refined the entire UI. I spoke to the maintainer on Discord because there are hackathons where you can take existing project and they have like big build periods of around 1.5 month. You can iterate on those. You get a prize money which is lesser than somebody who would make the first prize, but you still do get it. So I made another $5,000 from there. So as I said, 13 I made from there. And then other things were, I wouldn't call it a grant. It was, so there are these things like there's one protocol called Zora protocol. So Zora it has a marketplace like Instagram, but what you can do is you can coin content. So anything, let's assume you're making a reel, you're making an image, you have any content that you want to upload, you can basically make a token out of it and people can trade on that. So that is how the protocol makes money. As a creator, you can make money on that as well. For them, I made this consumer app, which I called Product Token Weave. That was the first thing that I made. It allows you to take your products, cast them as tokens, and then it connects to your Farcaster. It was earlier Warpcast, now it's Farcaster. They've rebranded the entire thing. So what it does is my product would take all of these things, all of these tokens, take them and render them as products. So you could say कि भाई मेरे पास आज hood token है. I have something like a hoodie. So you would fill a form that would say, this is a hood token. This is a hoodie. You would upload the image of your hoodie and you can sell products on that Zora ka entire protocol by leveraging uska coin ka protocol. So you would be taking your product, coining that product and selling that. So this way you would be trading on top of products. So this is not a very mind-blowing concept or something, but those guys liked it. I shipped it. I got money in Optimism tokens. It was bunch of iterations, like 4 or 5 times. I shipped for them. I spoke to them. I got close with the maintainers. And honestly, it's not about money for them. It's also about how good of an idea somebody can think of or how creative you can be. And that is what they pay for. Yeah, so that is bunch of money that I made from there. Other than that, I'm currently working on a grant by Aptos. So Aptos is also, I think it's a layer one. Yeah, it's a layer one blockchain that also uses Move contracts. Move is very similar to Rust, and I've already built something on top of Aptos earlier this year, and I'll be taking that as a base, and I'll be making something crazy out of it, probably integrating some lending borrowing protocols, or I could do anything, right? So it's generally, that's how I go. I'm like, I'm clear, I have to make this. I make Excalibur, I make temporary flows for that, and then I take that, I trade over my existing products, and that's how I go.
Talk us through your next product. You mentioned you're building something of your own zone? What are you building? How did you get the idea? What does the team look like?
All right. So recently, I mean, I was talking to Harkirat Bhaiya. So I was telling him that I take motivation from people like Levels.io. He's Peter Levels. So that guy ships things independently. So we call people like these indie hackers. They ship remotely from any place. It could be their house. So they make products, they make apps, they sell those apps, they market them independently, and then they make money off it. And that is actually a way to make good amount of money. And if you can break into that, which is something that I thought, ki bhai, I'm in my second year. Okay, so my second year is just coming to an end, and I was like, I would make something. I would make an app. This time I would try something like an AI SaaS. Okay, which is something new to me. So that is when I thought ki if something like that could work, it could generate me a lot of money, and I would learn a lot of things like how do you push code in production, how do you deploy everything. There are a lot of things. Cloudflare pe, how do you prevent DDoS and all of that. That's something that I didn't know because hackathons won't teach you that. It's not just an MVP shipping competition. This is something that you're doing. You're playing a game. You're basically selling out to real consumers across the globe. So I have certain target markets in my mind. Earlier I was like, why I will sell to US markets because you get good revenue there. You can sell them products for like $999 and nobody would care. They would just give you money. But that's not how it works. You have to be a lot serious when you're building some SaaS product. Uspe how you get your revenue, how you open a company, how do you, that's like a very big pain that nobody teaches you online. So these are certain things that I would learn along the way, and this is what I'm going to build. It's going to be something around what Lovable does. So if you know what Lovable AI does, it makes MVPs. It claims to make MVPs for no code people. So let's assume that you're a product manager, or even if you're a marketer, right? You got an idea, you take some prompt, you type it into Lovable or bolt.new. So you might have seen bolt.new ka tutorial in Harkirat's video. He might have shown you this is how you build it, this is how it works, right? I've seen that video as well. Okay, so I was talking about Lovable. Now what Lovable does is it targets different users, right? So that is not going to be my market. I will try to ship MVPs that are scalable and they're better and more polished than that at a lower price. I mean, I will not be doing something that's a monthly based pricing model. We'll do it something that you can ship at one time and get that payment for once for that product as soon as you get it. It could be something like a deployed link along with the source code. So I'm thinking around that, and I'm building it with somebody who is somewhat more experienced than me in AI because this is not my primary domain, and it's not something that you can learn in 5 days or a month or 5 months, right? You need somebody who has some amount of experience in that to work alongside with you. So right now I'm doing the front end, I'm doing the logistics, I'm doing the marketing, and let's assume I do that and he builds it, and along the way we learn. So it's like a symbiotic relationship. So this is something that to me looks like, and I believe that it could be this could be something like a crazy outcome. I mean, I know I could fail at the first. Like I was telling Harkirat Bhaiya, this will fail. The first V0 is bound to fail by nature. But then if we find success, we get PMF, let's say we get traction early, we get X number of users. This is something that could turn into something great. So we'll be making something like a wait list for onboarding early users. That's how most SaaS companies do, right? So this is something that I did when I followed a lot of people. People my age, even 17, 18, 19 years olds in US, they're shipping SaaS. And to me, it's like concerning because I was like, मैं तो JEE के लिए पढ़ रहा हूँ, right? So this is something that most of us can do, but it involves a fair share of risk. You have to put in some amount of money. For me, I could take a percentage of money that I've earned through hackathons and then use it as burning fuel. And then probably if it doesn't get burnt, I'll be able to capitalize well on that. So let's see how it plays out.
Makes sense. Yeah, cool, man. That sounds amazing. Excited to try it out. I don't know exactly what it is, but it sounds super interesting. At least the monetization model. So we'll see. Let me know when that launches. Thank you for sharing your insights with everyone. And yeah, that's all I had.